Hello, welcome to Here's the Pitch, and this is your YouTube friend Brad, and this is always sponsored by Masses Restaurants in St. Louis, 5 locations. STLmasses.com is their website. Go there, check them out. They're always good to me, and I enjoy their toasted ravioli. It's my favorite thing. And if you're listening to this, you can always go to the YouTube channel. You can always check out the description where there's all kinds of fun things with selling some shirts and having some fun. And today I'm really excited because one of my all-time favorite St. Louisans is on the phone. Phyllis Smith from The Office. You remember Phyllis Vance? Phyllis, hello.
Hello. I'm glad to be talking to you, Brad. And who doesn't love toasted ravioli, right?
Well, Phyllis, a St. Louisan, of course. If you didn't know that, and you're watching this around the country. But what is it your favorite when you tell people about St. Louis? Is it Ted Drew's? Is it Emo's? What do you tell people to eat?
Well, of course, I love Ted Drew's, and my favorite pizza, though, I have to. I don't mean to be a what do you call it, an Emo's non-fan, but Cusinelli's was my. I'm a southern South St. Louis girl here, and Cusinelli's was my favorite pizza, and somebody in all their non-directed wisdom tore the whole restaurant down. So I'm going to be missing my Cusinelli's pizzas for sure. So I guess I'll jump over to Emo's now.
No, we'll find you somewhere different. Cusinelli's, my father loved it, so we lived in South County, way off of Tesson Ferry, but we would drive all the way into Lime to get that dark under the crust. The crust was all nice and black and burnt, and it was so good.
Yeah, it was that my brother, who lives in Ohio now, would get the frozen pizzas, put them on dry ice, and take them back to Ohio with him. And after their kids this is when the kids were younger, after the kids would go to bed, he and his wife would drag one out of the freezer and eat their Cusinelli's pizza because they loved him so much. And every time that he would come to St. Louis, even up until they closed it, we would run and get a pizza. And I don't know why they tore the building down. It was a stagecoach stop back in the day. Did you know that?
I didn't know. I did not.
Yeah, I mean, the history of that building was incredible, and I happened to be one of the stagecoach. No, I happened to live back in those days. I'm that old. No, no, but it was a stagecoach stop from downtown, and so it's too bad that they were not able to designate it as a historical landmark,
I remember the white building. It smelled as you drove up to it. Oh, it was.
It was good.
We could see this is okay. We've wrapped up with Phyllis. No, I'm kidding.
Okay.
No, Phyllis and I've been trying to get a hold of Phyllis forever because she was part of the Cardinals pregame show one time. I don't know if you remember this, but back in the day, I used to produce the Cardinal pregame show, and you were just out in the stands. And Jim Hayes was one of my friends, and we were working, and he's like, "Hey, I think Phyllis from The Office is here." Or I think we actually we showed a shot of you, and I said, "Jim, go talk to Phyllis. That's Phyllis from the Office."
Oh yeah, I remember. Yeah, Jim came over, and I was there with my mom, my dad, and a friend of mine from St. Louis here, and I love the Cardinals. Are part of my growing up. My dad used to take my dad was a minister, and he would get a pass every year and go sit up in this is at the old stadium. I mean the really old one, not the last two stadiums and so we would sit up in the high tiered area, and he would even go sometimes by himself after work and stuff, and we'd always wait to see if he brought us home a foul ball. And to this day, I still have some of the foul balls that my dad got from the Cardinals game.
I'm going to spring training next.
At Sportsman's.
Yeah, I'm going to spring training next week. Hope you're jealous.
I know. I've been reading in the paper trying to brush up on what's going on down there, and can't wait for it to all come together this season.
Yeah.
My mom and I watch the games all the time when they're on TV. So it's something that we even stay up late for, the Cardinal games.
Well, let's hope they're better than last year. Let's say.
Well, they can't go too much further down, so all you can go is upward, right?
Yeah. No, it was not a fun season. Hopefully, it'll be more fun this year.
Can you tell me something, Brad? I cannot understand why they get to the ninth inning, they're doing great, and then all of a sudden they lose it. You know, they have 2 outs and they still lose it at the end of at that point in the game. And it has happened repeatedly, not just once or twice. What goes on in their thinking, or how does that work? For real, I'm asking this for real. I just don't understand it.
I will give my opinion, Phyllis.
Okay.
So last year they didn't have really good starting pitching to start with. So they had Adam Wainwright wasn't any good, unfortunately. Miles Michaelis wasn't so good. So then they had to go to their bullpen early. So that meant all those guys were overworked. So by the time they get to the ninth inning, they didn't have anybody really to close the game. You know, Helsley's a pretty good closer, but he got hurt. And once you don't have like an actual closer and you have guys who have never closed before, now we're just trying different guys. You know, I will pay them not to let Gio pitch in the ninth inning. Love the guy. Seems
Me
like
too. Me too. I feel the same way. I feel the same exact way about that.
Well, and I'm worried this year might. I don't know if they've done enough for the bullpen, Phyllis. They may have done a little bit better for the starting pitching, but I don't know. I'm gonna wait. You know, I'm a show me Stater person. Show me.
Right.
I need to be show me.
Show me Stater.
But yeah, it'll be. Hopefully, maybe we'll see you at the ball game this year. Who knows? I love being down there. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
You know, you have a great history. I'm gonna get to that in a little bit, but I really, you know, the last 24 hours I've spent watching The Office, just kind of getting my mind right to talk about the show. What an amazing experience it had to be for you. What a great show. If you look at like top 10 lists of sitcoms of all time, you guys are right in there. Just tell me a little bit about what, you know, as you get further away from those days, just the thought that comes through when people start talking to you about that show. I mean, was it as fun as it seemed? Did you have fun? It just looked like a great time.
It was absolutely. It was a blessing for me. It was such a blessing, and as I look back on it, I'm just. I was always grateful, but I continue to get more so if that's possible. I had been in the business for a while, not as an actor, but just in show business and around when I was doing the casting and around different casts and stuff. And I can tell you that the cast and the crew, we truly had a love for each other. We truly love each other. Our crew stayed with us, practically the exact same crew for 9 years, and that is pretty unheard of in this business. And so that it all stems from the top down. I think what I can tell, when you have somebody at the head that's has heart and brains and is a professional. And I'm talking about Greg Daniels and how that all filters down. He was the producer, the main producer of the show. When you have a good guy at the top and it filters down all the way through. And it was just a great 9 years. I can remember one time Steve Carell, this was early on in the seasons. I must have been like either the first or second season. He made a comment and he said, "You know, guys, this is probably the best show we're ever going to work on." And it truly had it. I think that has come to be for the people involved in the cast and the crew and stuff. We loved it, and we loved going to work. And I usually, oh, by the way, today is Leslie David Baker's birthday, so happy birthday, Les. We keep in good contact, and we're good friends. And what made me think of it is Leslie and I generally always drew the 4 o'clock, 4:30 in the morning calls. So we spent a lot of time together, early in the morning and such. And even at those times of the day, it wasn't a bad thing. It was a good thing. So, yeah, I don't have any bad stories to tell you about The Office. It was all pretty great.
Yeah. I think and you guys did wonderful Cheerios commercial, I think, last year. So you guys are still hanging out together.
We did. Thank you very much. We had a great time. And just so you know, we just did another campaign of them. I guess it was in January of this year. And so we did another, I don't know how many. I never know with all the material that we're given what's actually going to show up on air. But yeah, we had another great time. The first campaign we shot in Kirkwood, which was a year ago, and then this one we shot in Ladue.
Wow.
And so and because of my current situation, the commitment that I have here in St. Louis, I'm not able to travel right now, and so I was very blessed and fortunate that Cheerios, made it possible for us to shoot both those campaigns here in St. Louis.
Yeah, that's great.
It's great because it gives work here in St. Louis, and I was thinking about this earlier too. The crew that I've worked with here in St. Louis, top notch. I sure hope that other whether it be movies or commercials or whatever, find their way to St. Louis, because the people that I've worked with on both those campaigns, and also when I did the Joanne Craft, I did two years of those, and the crew's fantastic. They're so professional. They work hard. This last when was it that the temperature was so low, like 0 and below?
January, the whole month? No, there's 2 weeks there in January, though, for sure. Yeah.
Well, the coldest day of that was when we shot the Cheerios commercials, and those men and women were out there in all that weather making it happen, and they did a great job. Yeah. So shout out to them, because they're pretty darn good.
Yeah, there's a million production companies in this area. I worked with a bunch, and they're all professionals. There's not one that you can say, oh, they're better than the other one. Your trip to The Office, so I think that your trip into acting really is an amazing story. You're in casting for almost 20 years, and people know, it's just kind of seeing people come through and knowing, and then you start reading for The Office, and just give us that story, and why didn't you? You did some dancing way back in your day. You were a Cardinals cheerleader, so you had this kind of on screen, in front of people sort of mentality. But why was the acting thing never something you did until this came about?
I just I had actually did a documentary here in St. Louis and got my SAG card with it, and I paid my dues for 19 years. my SAG dues were up to date, but I really felt that the ship had sailed. I have said this before, I can honestly say I never, on any of the shows that I ever worked on through those 19 years, thought, oh, is there a role for me? I really felt that it had, wasn't in my cards. And I was as surprised as anyone when Ken Costas, the director, we were pairing up the actors. We had gotten to the point in the process where we were pairing up the various actors to see what their chemistry might be. And we brought Krasinski in from New York, and BJ Novak. And so the day that Ken asked me, he goes, Phyllis, I want you to read Dwight here. And I went, oh, okay. And so he paired me up with John Krasinski, and I read the role of Dwight opposite him. And I was nervous, but I wasn't nervous because I didn't know that I was being auditioned. I just wanted to do a good job as a reader to give the best so that John could work off of me, So I was nervous that when I had to do that, and I had no idea that Ken had his eye on me at the time, and it wasn't until I think. First of all, none of the powers that be ever came and said, "Hey, do you want to be in the show?" We got a fax and it had the name of Phyllis on it, and Allison Jones, the casting director, said, "Is this Phyllis? Is this my Phyllis?" And so they said, "Yeah," but I still didn't. No one had approached me, so I wasn't sure what was going on. But I had been in the business long enough to know that when wardrobe calls you or you're sent a script, that constitutes a hire. So I got a call one day. I'm sitting in the casting office, and they said, "We understand you're playing the character of Phyllis." And I said, "Yes, I am." That's how I really officially knew I had the role. So it was another blessing. It was actually one time I had given an interview and I said, I was told a reporter that I'd been in LA. My parents were getting older. My dad was in fairly bad health, and I remember praying on my way to work, I'm saying, I don't know how I'm going to do this. They're in St. Louis, I'm out here. I guess I'm going to have to win the lottery or something. And the reporter said to me, "Well, I guess you did." So my prayer was answered, and in a different way, I'd won the lottery, and it changed my life in a good way.
It's so good. You're great in it. Everyone is so good in it. I know there's probably a million favorite moments. I have to tell you mine, just because. What am I going to? When Michael, Michael hurting his foot on the George Foreman grill when he likes the smell of bacon. I just can't. Anytime we're cooking bacon, it makes me laugh.
I also like the one where he wears the lady pants, and he doesn't realize that he has the lady pants on.
I mean, there's just so many. He hits Meredith on the way into work. It's just it shouldn't be funny. And he follows the GPS into the lake, of course. So these are all Michael moments. Phyllis, you are obviously wonderful when you're Santa. It's maybe my favorite part for you, and then you, and of course Bob Vance. A favorite episode for you, or a favorite moment, because there's the episodes themselves are great, but the moments that people talk about for you, do you have one that sticks out? Maybe that's even doesn't involve you, or just kind of when you watch the show.
There, like you say, there are a lot that stand out in my mind. The one I also enjoyed the episode I did where Dwight thought I treated me like I was like a cow, when he was, and he stapled my blouse back together and stuff. That stood out in my mind quite a bit. I don't know. There are so many good moments. The constant duel that Angela and I had going on was always fun. I do like the thing with Jenna Fisher where I said, "Close your mouth, honey. You look like a trout." That one always sticks out of my mind too. I know the one too I liked where Rashida Jones and I went and had our makeup and our hair done for our business deal that we went on, where we were driving and you see us all dolled up in our hair and makeup. That was a fun episode too. So I don't know. There's just too many to even.
Yeah, it's funny because, like I said, I went on the binge watched it the other night again. It's always on. I also find it funny, like we have a 15-year-old here who just loved this show, and I think I hear that from my other buddies. They're 15-year-olds. They didn't see it when it first ran. Now Netflix has it, so it's like this big kind of groundswell again. But I know a lot of people always will. And it's always funny. We call it the final episode, but it's not. But Michael's final episode is so special and so great. I know my wife was really excited that I get the chance to talk to you. And there was always this the song that you guys do for Michael, it wasn't planned, right? You guys sort of just surprised him with that. Is that correct?
Which one is that now?
The very end, where the song from Rent, 9,004,600 minutes.
That was that episode. I can't watch it without crying. I can't even talk about it without crying. That was very, very special. He is such a nice, incredible guy, and was just wonderful to work with. Can't say anything bad about Steve Carell at all. He was. You always had to be on your toes when you worked with him, because he could take the same material and script and do it 10 different ways using the exact same words. I mean, he had so much creativity in him. And that last episode was a tearjerker for sure. The other, now you're making me think about when he proposed to Holly.
Yeah.
Oh, that was special too. And we only got one shot at the completion of that, because of the fire sprinklers going off and everybody got sopping wet. So they didn't have time for everybody to go back in hair and makeup and do it a second time. We had to make sure it went fine the first time. So it was a good thing. We were surprised at Dwight and Angela's wedding. The general cast didn't know that Steve was coming back for that episode when Dwight and Angela got married. And it was about 5:00 in the morning in the dark, and all of a sudden there's Steve in the parking lot getting ready to go to hair and makeup. But we were just I was, flabbergasted and really happy to see him. So it was a good deal.
How often? I mean, we know it was scripted, right? I know a lot of improv was involved, but just how many times would you just guys lose it because the material is so funny? It had to be just nonstop laughing on that set.
Well, depending on the director, we would try to lay it down as it was written, and then a lot of the directors would say, "Okay, play with it, go with it," and then they would give us free rein to just and then that happened also before they would give us free, the go ahead to play with it. But there was a lot of nonstop laughter, and I guess on the outtakes you see a lot of people losing it before they should have. But it was you never knew what you were going to be when you were working with someone, how it was going to come out, but it generally turned out okay,
Yeah. Well, and then it's so funny. So we're talking about this wonderful show. We're having fun. We're laughing about it. And then I go to do a little research about this. And every 6 months, is there going to be a reunion? Is there going to be a reboot? Bryan Cranston, I think, was just with Jenna and Angela on their podcast and said, let's do a movie. So what are you hearing anything? Can you give us some dirt, Phyllis?
I wish I could give you a scoop, but I do not know anything. I just in my hunch, I would think it would be really difficult to gather everybody again because everybody's lives have gone different directions and stuff. But I would be up for it if it comes about. I would love to be a part of it. But I really haven't heard anything that I could tell you that would be true.
Yeah.
And I don't want to spread a lie, so.
Let's spread a lie. I think we can do that here. Phyllis just said there's a reboot and she's in it.
Yeah, and I'm the star.
It's the Phyllis Show with Leslie.
Yeah, there you go.
What you said is true too. This cast is amazing. As you look now, what they're all doing. I'm going to throw a name at you and just give me your first thought when you hear their name or their character. And you can do one word or however you want to do it. I'll just do a few here. Ed Helms.
Very creative.
John Krasinski.
Love him. I said, can I go off on that?
Absolutely, yeah. If you want to do more with Ed too, I don't know, but go ahead. Whatever you want to say about each person. I'm not going to do everybody, but I'm very interested.
When he was auditioning, like I said, he came in from New York, and we were pairing people up, and there had been other people that were auditioning for the same role, and Krasinski was sitting out in the waiting room there, and they hadn't called him in. He had been in before, they'd read him, and they were taking other people in for their second time or their third time, and he was just sitting out there. And he later had told me that he thought that they didn't bring him back in because they had already made the decision that they didn't want him. And in reality, it was the reverse. They already knew that they liked him. But that's what goes on in an actor's head, when they're sitting there watching people come and go. And he hadn't gotten that other, like a second chance to go back in. And he thought it was because they already said, okay, he's not it. But it was the reverse of that. And I always told John, because I'm thinking about this, when he auditioned, everybody was a lot younger than, the last. How many years is it now?
Started in 2005. Yeah, 20 years is when it went on. Yeah, 20 years ago it went on the air.
20 years. Yeah. He was, a young guy, and I told him, I said, you're going to be the next Tom Hanks. and he said, oh, no. I said, yeah, you are. And now he's even, you look at it, he's just a movie star out of this world. So.
Yeah, that's the movie he's in right now is the I can't remember the name of it now that I'm saying it, but where he's quiet. I mean, that's really an actor. If you can do a whole movie where you don't say anything, it's pretty amazing.
Right, exactly. A quiet place.
Yeah, thank you. Yes. All right, St. Louis, Jenna Fischer.
She is lovely, consummate, professional, heart of gold. I can't say enough good things about Jenna. She's just, she would make me cry just watching her, like the scene that when he told her that he loved her, and her reaction and their kiss and everything, or when he told her that he loved her and she couldn't respond or didn't respond. That's another one of those scenes where I get a lump in my throat. She's a wonderful actress, wonderful, and she's a good person. Yeah, nothing bad about Jenna.
Yeah, it's funny too because we're talking about how funny the show is, and then we're also mentioning all these moments where we're crying during the show. I forgot how many great.
Isn't that the true test of comedy, though, and is that when you can make somebody laugh and at the same time make them cry, it shows the depth of the feeling. So, I think that's the mark of something excellent. Yeah. How's that for my opinion?
No, it's true. Clearly it's excellent. Brian Baumgartner, Kevin, give me.
Wonderful. Love Brian. Smart as a whip. And the character that he plays, he seems so doofus and dumb, and he is the complete opposite of that in real life. He is so incredibly smart and intelligent and a businessman. So he does a wonderful job acting, believe me.
Yeah. When the fire happens and he's going through the vending machine instead, that is
right.
Very good. So I can't go through the whole cast, obviously, because we'd be here all day. Let's do Steve Carell. I know you've mentioned him a little bit, kind of the leader, it seems like, but give me your
He was just the consummate professional, on time, always prepared. He was a really good director. A lot of them were good directors too. John and Brian and Steve, they all directed different episodes, and they were terrific at it. Steve is just like a never-ending fountain of creativity. It's just constant, and I just think he's a wonderful person, and um, I've always hoped that somewhere down the line I'd be able to work with him again in some other capacity in a movie or something.
It's I mean, like I said, you could look at this cast and just go, well, they're superstar. There's it's crazy.
Yeah.
I only have go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. You go ahead.
No, you go ahead. You go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I know we kind of said we would do a half hour, 30 minutes, so I want to make sure I ask you about a movie my wife and I watched during COVID. We put it on one time, and we love Kristen Wiig, and we're like, ooh, this is what a strange movie. We come back, we watch it again, and I'm talking about Barb and Star Go to Vista Del Mar. This is one of our all-time favorite movies now, Phyllis. I have to tell you, I'm almost as excited to talk to you about this movie. Tell me a little bit about how you got into that. Yeah, are you surprised that I find it funny? Are you surprised it's hilarious to me. Now, I know it's probably for a special type of person. And like I said, the first time we watched it, we're like, this is strange.
It is a different movie, yes.
We've watched it 1,000 times, I'm telling you, and we love it every time.
Let's see, Allison Jones cast me in that movie, and I had the best time. I worked, I think, 2 or 3 days on it, and it was one of those moments where you couldn't keep a straight face a lot of times as we would sit around, and the improv was just impeccable and great. And I loved horses. That's my thing in that movie. I carried my saddle out and everything else. And Kristen Wiig, we had I think we had a really bad thunderstorm when we were shooting, and we had to stop for a little bit, and we all sat around and talked, and she's lovely. She's a really nice person too. So, I have to say, I sound like I haven't worked with as of yet. I'm going to say yet. Everyone I've worked with has just been really pretty darn great. Yeah. And all the projects that I have been blessed to have been part of.
I'm still laughing though at your reaction to my reaction to the movie. I think you're like, you found that funny? No, it's funny, and you're funny in the one scene. I was just curious. So, like, when you read that script, I mean, you clearly only have the parts where you're in the room with the talking pillow, or the talking stick, or whatever it was called. Did you go, what is this? Or did you just, hey, I'm doing my part?
I just went with it. I just, jumped in with both feet and said, okay, let's do this. And I had no idea how the whole movie was going to turn out, actually. But it was fun. It was a very interesting, different comedy.
It's very fun. That's Well, it's funny if you haven't seen it out there, and I will promote it till the day. It's so funny. There's just joke after joke after joke, and they're so goofy. You'll miss them if you're not watching hard enough. And so my wife and I watch it. We didn't hear that, and now we make fun because at one point Kristen Wiig goes, "I'm the disgusting woman you met the other night," and we talk about ourselves that way in the third person. I'm the disgusting man on the other side.
It's like subliminally self-deprecating, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah, and then the last couple things you've done, the OA, you did Bad Teacher. I'm assuming you got casted again by Allison. Was it you have kind of a good friend in casting, or how did that work out?
None of those. Let's see, Bad Teacher was a completely different casting director. Did
you audition then? So you had to go?
I auditioned, went in. I was still doing The Office when I went in to audition for Bad Teacher, and then when Cameron Diaz saw my tape, she felt that I was her, I was the one. But I'll tell you a quick story about that. They had a table read. I had been cast, and the gentleman that did my deal for me, he said, "Phyllis, whatever you do, when you go to the table read, be on your game. You have to be, because it's a known thing that a lot of people have been recast after they've done a table read, and it didn't go well." So I was like, again, really nervous and scared about it, but I was prepared, and I went in, and but that was always in the back of my mind. So at this table read, there was like a room with all the powers that be from the production companies and the writers, the whole everybody, and there was a table shaped like a U, and we all sat around and they read the script. And the first time that I opened my mouth when I started speaking in the script, my voice cracked, and everybody burst out laughing, and I thought, oh, maybe this will work. So I ended up using my nerves to my advantage, and it just kind of worked out for me. And every time I would speak, they would laugh. So I thought, oh, okay, maybe I won't get recast in this. And I had a great time with Cameron. She's very thoughtful and just another great lady to work with. We had a good time.
How about Justin Timberlake? You and Justin Timberlake get along?
Yeah, I had with Justin, the first day that he worked, we ended up being broken for lunch at the same time, and I found myself in this huge room with a layout of food, and no one else from the cast had the, broken for lunch. And so there I am in this huge room with Justin Timberlake, and I'm thinking in my head, okay, what do? Do I approach him? Because I hadn't been introduced to him at all. And I thought, do I approach? What do I do? And just about that time, I hear him say, hey, Phyllis, you want to have lunch? I went, yeah, sure. So we sat down and started talking, and he broke the ice. And then I could just sit there with my mouth open and drool while I ate. So.
What do you ask him about? What do you guys talk about? You talk about his NSYNC days or his Britney days?
No, we actually talked about where we were from. And,
okay.
and
Memphis, right, for him, right?
Yes, Yeah. And so that's what basically, and then that we weren't there that long by ourselves, and then everybody else was broken and sat down with us and stuff. But yeah.
Well,
it was good.
Yeah, you have just an amazing story. Like I said, going from the St. Louis area into casting and then getting the job just by doing a casting read. And if there is an Office reboot, I really hope that you're part of it, or there's a movie. I really think they can't have the Office reboot without you. Anything else? I know there's a million other things I could ask you about. Yeah.
Let's see. Well,
promoting
I'm
anything?
doing Inside Out 2.
Okay.
And I got Inside Out, just so you know, through a Bad Teacher. The producer of Inside Out, one of the producers on Inside Out 1, couldn't sleep one night, and he threw Bad Teacher in the CD player or whatever. And when he saw me in Bad Teacher, he picked up the phone and called Pete Docter and said, I think I found our sadness. So it's interesting how one job can lead to another, And so then I've been working on Inside Out 2 as well, and it's supposed to come out in June of this year.
So you're done. You've done all the voice and all that for that?
Well, actually, I'm recording some more this Friday for Inside Out 2.
Nice.
So,
and do that in town, or do you go fly for that?
In town. Okay. No, I haven't been able to fly since COVID, so I've been fortunate. I've done all my Inside Out 2 here. The Cheerios, the Joanne's, and so it's been a good thing.
Yeah. Well, we'll look forward to that. That's exciting. Hopefully, anything else coming out? Or are you?
No, not at this moment. Still working on the Cheerio stuff and the Inside Out 2 right now.
And some Cardinal baseball, I hope.
I'm looking for the Cardinal baseball team to move us forward this year.
We need some playoff baseball. I miss it.
I know there's like this loss when the season just stops, yeah. And you go, well, now what do I do? Oh. What do I look for now?
Why is it?
And my heart wasn't even in the playoffs this year,
It's just so funny that winter is it's 6 months when baseball's off, and then it just goes so slow, and then when baseball's on, it goes so fast. The 6 months.
Exactly. Yeah.
I miss it. Well, I really appreciate this, and Phyllis, I really did. I had a great time. Hopefully, maybe next time we'll do this in a few more months, maybe a year down the road. We'll get to meet in person, and we'll do it over some emos, maybe. I would love to see you in person and talk to you again. As we had Jim Hayes catch you at the ball game that one time, maybe I'll catch you at the ball game the next time.
I love Jim Hayes, just so you know too. I think he always asks such great questions. What do they call him? Cool Cat or what?
Jimmy the Cat. He's going to be so excited when I play this clip for him, I'm sure. He's great. I love working with him. He's a little catty. He can run around and be a cat. He's a cat. But that's funny that you're a fan of his. I'm sure he'll be excited.
Yep, I am.
All right. Well, hopefully we run into you. I appreciate your time here. And that's going to do it for Here's the Pitch. I appreciate your time here. We'll see you next time.